Welcome back, everybody, to the final episode of the Spindle for the season, episode 12. I am your host, Jay Friesen.
I'm also your host, Brian Matson. I notice how you do that all the time. You just claim sole hosting, capacity.
I'm not claiming. Do I need to say? Okay, let's retake this.
I am a co-host.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the final episode of the season of the Spindle, episode 12. I'm your co-host, Jay Friesen. See, that just sounds weird.
It sounds dumb. You're right. Stick with host.
All right. Anyway, this is our last episode of the season, and summer is coming on.
It's very hot outside right now, which we're enjoying since we had about an 8-month-long winter.
I went mountain biking this morning.
That's fantastic.
Super fun.
That's great. Nice.
But I'm looking forward to the show today because we have a couple cool things on the Spindle that Brian doesn't know what he's going to say yet. And we have Peter Jones of the Truth Exchange on Above the Pay Grade. And if you thought he might be sort of cool, you were wrong. He is uber cool. He ran around and caused a bunch of ruckus with a good friend of his back in high school.
In Liverpool.
Guy
by the name of John
Lennon.
How cool is that?
The John Lennon,
yep.
The Beatles. And then on the commentary, Brian has a really great rap for, as we've been looking at transmission, historicity, and textual criticism.
Reliability of the Bible.
The Bible. You've got some really good things to say that kind of wrap up this particular season. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you. Cool.
We are coming back next season, but it won't be till, what, September?
Correct, I believe.
Something like that. I'm actually flying down to LA in a couple weeks to talk to a cable TV network about picking up the show.
Juicy TV.
Juicy TV. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, right.
Juice.
Juice.
TV out of LA.
Juicy TV gets you, apparently, I'm told, somewhere you don't want to be on the interwebs.
We had a YouTube viewer comment on the fact that she's like, you really don't, I can hear the little old lady voice, you really don't want to go to juicytv.com. Yeah. It's not something that you should be promoting.
We apologize for that little misunderstanding.
Yes. So I'm pretty excited about that. So we got some cool stuff planned for the summer for the show.
What are you doing this summer?
I'm going to spend
mountain biking.
I'm going to spend some time mountain biking. I am going to spend a little bit of time at the cabin with the kids. I've got a lot of development work. Honestly, we're going to be doing some fundraising for Dead Reckoning, some fundraising for another couple of other pieces of stuff that we're working on, and because you have this really cool teaching series that we're doing,
right?
Called
Ancient Faith from Modern Times.
There you go.
Yeah, we're going to put that together as a 16-week video series. And
a small group study or Sunday school.
And put together some study materials, and so we're going to do that. I'm
pretty
busy.
That's going to take up most of the summer, just producing that.
Probably. So. Yeah, I got a lot on my plate. I got quite a few projects going. I got quite a few speaking engagements this summer, which is cool. I'm always grateful for those. Hopefully, at some point, I can get some fishing in. Unfortunately, all of the rivers in Montana look like chocolate milk right now.
Oh man, we were down.
It's bad.
We were down, and this might be the segue into my first Spindle item. Is we were down. My brother and his girlfriend came to town over Memorial Day weekend, and we were out at a friend's property shooting some guns at clays, over the Yellowstone River, and that river is so high right now.
And it's chocolate milk.
It is incredibly high.
It's just mud.
It is. It is totally mud. So yeah, that brings me to my first Spindle item.
Oh,
we're sitting at a restaurant on Sunday, and my brother's girlfriend looks at me and goes, "So what is your opinion on God's plan and versus His purpose for your life?" And I thought, well, that's an interesting thought, which leads me to summertime.
Summertime.
Yeah, you want to know how all these connect together?
Yes, I want to know how that.
Summertime, we're spending tons and tons of time outside.
Yeah.
I'm out mountain biking. I'm just enjoying creation. I'm enjoying nature. You're off doing your 10 and 2s, just having a ball.
Or catching on my back porch.
40-foot rainbows, and everything. Do they come in 40 feet?
Right. No.
So, yeah, you got to just really, I think I meant 40 pound.
I'm sure they do, but not where I fish.
So what does this have to do with God's plan and God's purpose? Well, this is what I explained. I said, the first thingy of the Westminster Catechism, first thingy, the chief end of man.
What is man's chief end?
What is
man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever.
There you go. And she said, what does that have? And so I said, here's how the plan works out. God's plan for us each and every day is to change our hearts and to renew us and enable us to do those things way better. That's it. As I gone on simple, that's it. So when we're out enjoying nature, when we're out this summer camping and hiking and taking time off from school, if you're in school, and running around doing all that stuff.
Yeah, I think
just get out and enjoy nature, man.
Enjoy God.
Enjoy God.
Pursue Him. Look, I mean, so much of American evangelical theology is this internalized spirituality where we feel like God has to reveal His will or His plan for me by zapping me somehow or whispering in my ear,
right,
or laying something on my heart. Look, God made the whole you. He made the things you're interested in. Do you have an interest in something? Pursue it. Pursue it. That is His will. He made you to be interested in that. That is God executing His plan in the world. Don't stand around, shuffling your feet forever.
What does God want me
for
to
the
do?
divine whisper. Kevin DeYoung has that book. I think he's got a book on this, on calling, and I think the title is "Do Something."
Just do something.
Yeah, stop this stuff like, I don't know what God wants me to. Look, what are you interested in? What do you love? Look, if it's not sinful, pursue it. Go for it.
There's a funny. I think I had this thought way back in college. We were going through the Book of Psalms or something.
Right.
And there's that verse that says, "Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path."
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, feet and path and light. As you shine a light on your feet, it only shines in the spot in front of you.
Right.
So that presumes you're walking somewhere. You're going somewhere.
It presumes that, and it also presumes
you're doing something.
It also presumes that you can't see the entire path.
That's what it
and
also
that's
presumes.
Yeah. I mean, people want to know what is God's plan. Like, I want to see the end or how all of this turns out. A lot of times, God is calling you to faithfully just take the next step. The part that's illuminated, and He's going to lead you. If you're faithful to Him, and He's going to lead you into.
But that's place. Just I love good creeds and catechisms because they're really great summaries of like this just deep, rich theology, and it's like what?
Good stuff.
Purpose and plan, man. God's purpose is our purpose is to glorify God and enjoy Him forever, and His plan is to help us do that better.
Yeah.
Every day. So that's my first. As I was thinking about summer this morning, I'm riding down this trail, and that single track is just flowing underneath me. Yeah. As a mountain biker, you kind of get.
I can't ever hear that verse, by the way, without hearing Amy Grant in my head. Remember Amy Grant? She sang,
I remember.
Thy word is a
lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path.
Yeah, that's the old Amy Grant thing, yeah. That's free, folks, by the way. We're not charging admission.
Did we just do that? We just covered Amy Grant on this.
We did the old Amy
Grant. Okay. So anyway, what's your spindle item?
I don't know. I mean, that was kind of an uplifting, kind of encouraging sort of spindle item.
You have a downer for us?
I do. I do. I'm
Brian Mattson. Here's my Debbie
Of course
downer.
I've got downers. Sometimes.
Don't talk about your Twitter feed.
I won't. I won't. Are you kidding me? No way. No way. You could not pay me enough to talk about my Twitter feed right now. Sometimes God's plan and sometimes His purpose is to lead us through times of great suffering.
Truth. Yeah.
And suffering is that furnace, where we're purified and we're you really have to think about, what do I believe in? I think about right now the woman who's in a prison in Sudan. She's married to an American citizen who is in prison, and she is scheduled for execution for apostasy from Islam. She was pregnant in prison. She just gave birth to a little girl, and they're going to postpone the execution until after the daughter is weaned. Apparently, I mean, they're so generous. Her crime simply is to be married to a Christian man. You see, her Muslim father left the family when she was a young girl, and her mother raised her as a Christian. She eventually made it to the U.S., where she married an immigrant to the U.S., who is a citizen, Her immigration status is in flux because of bureaucracy, and things have taken much longer than they ought to. So she's not technically a citizen. However, her husband is, and very likely her children are. She's now in prison in the Sudan. According to the Muslim government of Sudan, she is guilty of apostasy because her father was a Muslim, and therefore she is by definition a Muslim.
Right.
And by marrying a Christian man, she has apostatized. And so they have told her that, she can get off the hook if she just recants. And she says, well, I'm a Christian and I've always been a Christian, so there's no way I can recant. So the disturbing thing about this is that how little outrage there is about this. I mean, this woman's crime. She has committed no crime. She's happened to be in the Sudan, born to a Muslim father, and I guess that's the crime. I don't think our State Department is doing much for her. The article that I read was that they're giving the husband the complete runaround. Well, she's not really a citizen. Well, there's not much we can do, mealy mouth. And I think that is so outrageous. The piddly little government of Sudan, this could be solved with robust American foreign policy. This type of thing ought to be resolved with a single telephone call. You have one of our people in your prison on nothing more than she's married to a Christian. That ain't gonna fly. Well, okay. It's really sad. Anyway, pray for her. Well, she's in. That's a pretty drastic piece of suffering.
Yeah, it is. And it kind of reminds me of the one item on Spindle item that I had never brought up all season, which I'm kind of regretting now, is all of the Christian persecution in Africa thanks to Boko Haram. I mean, they're going into slaughtering whole congregations and whole churches and schools. The only thing we heard maybe is a little bit about the girls getting taken hostage. Yeah,
so that's the amazing thing. I mean, you kidnap the girls, and that gets the news.
But they have since killed. But they've killed hundreds in the last 4 months.
In the last couple of years, they've actually gone into institutions, schools, and so forth, and just massacred everybody. So this is these are bad dudes. And back it with bullets. That's our new hashtag.
Back it with bullets.
Back it with
Watch
bullets.
last week's episode, Back it with bullets.
Yeah, anyway, so pray for those who are persecuted around the world for their religious convictions and their faith, and particularly this Sudanese woman and her family. Since I left my phone over there, I don't remember her name, which is unfortunate.
It's hard to identify because the only real persecution we get here in the United States is being called bigoted haters.
Yeah, that happened a lot to me yesterday on Twitter. Apparently, just making any sort of comment or observation, however benign, on the question of the day, which is usually issues involving same-sex unions, just commenting on that makes me a hater of humanity. That's what I learned yesterday.
I'm going to be sarcastic for a second.
Go ahead.
This is what it looks like in reality when you get called a bigot. Oh, hey, man. Hey. Oh, you're gay. And that's when you say, you bigoted hater. You must be Christian. Yeah, okay, there you go.
Right, exactly. I didn't really understand that. But
that's I totally understood it.
Okay.
It takes is like making any sort of comment.
Any comment at all. I mean, we decided. All I did was link an article. I linked an article written by an LGBT advocate talking about how, you know what, the Christians were right about all their concerns. We're really not interested in marriage. Ha! Surprise! We're not interested in marriage. We're interested in undermining this institution because we think it's oppressive and archaic and patriarchal and so forth. And so all I did is point attention to it, and I am filled with hate. That's what I was told on Twitter. I'm an idiot.
There's a man full of hate. Speaking of marriages and unions.
Yes.
Remember a couple weeks ago, I talked about how I was putting the dishes away the other night, and there was like
a dozen sippy cups?
9 sippy cups.
Yeah, there was 9 of them.
I have 2 kids.
Yeah,
okay,
I remember this.
What's the matter? 4.5 sippy cups per kid?
Yep. Per day?
Per day.
Well, I got the same problem, man. We got these little I told you, we don't need to rehash
I know.
I got a dozen of those little stackable cups.
The thing about it is that we've got a third one on the way now.
Wow.
So that's another 4.5 sippy cups in the dishwasher.
You heard it here first. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, number 3 on the way. So that means Jay's going to now be washing a full 13.5 and a half sippy cups, apparently. That's great. So you guys know what you're having, how far along you are? Or
Nah, we're
just
about 10 weeks.
Kind of early. 10 weeks, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
we haven't been really keeping it a secret. We haven't really announced it on Facebook, which is kind of like
we're going to announce
it's
it
official when it's on Facebook, but it's like we've not really been telling, and a lot of people. And here's you may completely disagree with this, and I know there's a lot of people that will. But the big reason people never announce in the first trimester is the risk of miscarriage.
Sure.
Right? Because all of a sudden you announce that we're pregnant, yay, and then the baby dies, and you're like, we're not pregnant, no,
Yeah, we've had this experience.
Right, and you had that experience.
I have had this experience.
We haven't had the experience, but what we have decided is that we would rather go through that experience of loss with a community like Brian and his family and our church body, rather than not.
Fair enough. It's good. I suppose if
it's
people
wrong,
know,
but-
well, yeah, it's in our experiences, it's kind of a painful thing though.
Absolutely.
When it happens, and you
then-
don't want to come out on Facebook. Hey, everybody! By the way,
Not
I
everybody
just had
knows. They're like, hey, how's the pregnancy
right,
coming?
That's what happens. And people come up and
yeah.
say, so how? Yeah, that's happened. So yeah, we're not into that.
But I get to join you in the land of 3. 3 is the new 2.
3 needs to be the new 2. Did
4.
you know that we have a world underpopulation?
It's gonna be the new
problem?
3. I'm gonna shoot for 4.
Good for you, man.
I don't think my wife really appreciates that, but.
Well, we're enjoying number 3. She's a sweet little baby. She's just great.
What'd you say about the world's population?
I said we have an underpopulation problem.
Not terrible. I think when you
No, it
start.
is terrible.
When we're at 2.1, I think is the last, and like when it drops
2.1,
below 2,
right.
you're screwed.
2.1 is replacement rate. Most of the world is well below 2.1. So what that means is in 40 years, you're going to have a huge lack of 40-year-olds. And guess what? It's too late. There's no reversing it. I mean, once you're below replacement, you see a tremendous
Isn't Japan
decline.
already there?
Japan is really in the tank in terms of fertility, and America is hovering right at replacement level, and that is because of the immigrant community. Latinos and Hispanics have very large families.
I am totally okay
And I think
with
that's
becoming
awesome.
a Latin country because, man, it's delicious food.
It is. Anyway, so they're kind of keeping us afloat. But if the trend, typically what happens is second generation immigrants tailor their lifestyle to the host culture. So yes, these immigrants all have big families, but the next generation will revert to the 1.5 kids that
Okay.
the rest of the culture is. So we do actually have a population decline problem. So you have to have more than 2.1 kids. I could not figure out how to get just that 0.1, so I had to go with 3.
So as Hadley Heath says, get out there and have kids, but get married first.
Yes, and check out that episode of Dead Reckoning this season. Hadley Heath came on and told us how to avoid poverty, and that is finish school, get married, and have
Then
children.
have children
in that order, and you will.
And there's
avoid
lots
poverty.
of statistics that say you'll end up broken in the gutter if you don't do it that way.
Yeah, if you miss that order,
There is something I would like to see if we can actually pull off.
okay.
If anybody makes it this far into this,
We're
segment.
going to do a dance number.
No. I would like to celebrate summer and all the great things that we can. Going back to my first spin, all the great things we can enjoy.
All the glorifying God and enjoying Him. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to have our viewers kind of just submit us a photo. Just tag us in a photo somewhere on Facebook or Twitter or
Tweet us a
YouTube,
photo of
Google
you.
Plus, whatever.
Enjoy
Just
glorifying God and enjoying.
whatever
Him.
you're digging right now, because there's a lot of people who do a lot of different things. We may figure out something that we've never done, or somebody else, and they'll be like, "Hey, that'd be cool. Let's do that."
I like it.
So yeah, tag us in something this summer, and if we get enough of them, we'll bring them up on the first episode next season.
Sounds like fun. Yeah,
it'd be cool.
Let's
If we get enough, get enough engagement.
Yeah. Well, we'll
So,
see if we
and
can-
on that note, follow us, Dead Reckoning TV, at D Reckoning TV on Twitter, Dead Reckoning TV on Facebook, and then
you're
Dead
at Jay
Reckoning-
Friesen,
Yeah, I'm at Jay Friesen, Friesen.
at
And that's-
Brian G. Matson.
Yeah, if you want to hate on him, hate on him.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about film, talk to me. Other than that, we're going to still post regularly, just kind of cool things we find this summer. And so we'll be around, but we're not going to be producing any more episodes for the next couple months.
We will remind you periodically of some of the segments that we've done over this past season
Yes.
and past seasons. to just bring them up. I mean, there are a lot. We produce actually a lot of content. I've talked to a lot of people who say, "Man, I just actually can't keep up with."
I have a lot of people that can't keep up.
And so we like to just kind of remind you, hey, did you guys see the interview that we did with David Bunsen on the financial crisis? Or did you see the interview we did with Eric Erickson on how to handle trolls and haters? Did you see Hadley Heath? Did you know, because we've had good guests.
We've had some good guests.
Peter Jones. We're going to remind you of those things and keep spreading them around because I think we've had great content.
And Brian and I have decided for all the commentaries for the last year and a half, the last 2.5 seasons, we're going to actually compile a bibliography resources for each commentary, so you guys can download those on our website. Hope to have those done sometime this summer. And then if you want to go back and review those and go, hey, that was a really interesting topic on worldview and food. I'm going to download the stuff. I'm going to download the little
it'll be
resource
like
guide.
for further study or further
Yeah,
reading
give you another link of
resources
resources and
things
everything
like that.
else, so you guys have some of that stuff. Or if you want to go back and look at all the textual criticism stuff we've been talking about this season on the show. So anyway, that's it. And I hate to say goodbye, but goodbye.
Asta, glorify God and enjoy Him forever.
This is Dead Reckoning.